Good morning, wherever you are in the world. This is David. You see my name at the bottom. I refer myself as David, but my name is David Richardson. I am a Wealth Transfer Alliance advocate, and this is my dashboard. I'm going to give you something this morning, and let me give you a little background before I get over there to myself. I am an accountant. I graduated with a accounting and business administration major. I went back and studied for my master's in accounting. I took extensively almost 24 hours of CPA review. I went and sat for the CPA, and after setting for the CPA, I went back and studied for a master's in management information systems. That's enough of me. Oh, I've written, I'll tell you this, I've written a couple books on the seven spirits of God and the secret that God gave to the Son of Man about you and I. Okay, let me kind of get started and move on in my presentation of this Wealth Transfer Alliance. But at the top, you see, this is all about you to show you how to avoid the United States probate court's wealth theft and over $250,000 paid annually to the probate court judges, and the salaries keep rising and rising and rising. I don't know when it's going to get to 500,000, but the salaries are rising because the court took in 2025 billions, and prior to that billions, and up now 20 some trillion dollars in the probate court, and it's coming out of you. Yep. And I'm moving on. Let me get move on as I said it earlier. This is my, well, I won't apologize. I can't apologize for nothing but myself, but I have to drink water. I have a big bucket of a glass of water here, and I drink water because when I talk a lot of time, I get a little hoarse. Now look, avoiding probate plan. The probate plan, you see down there, it's had the probate court. Probate court is a plan. If you don't provide for your own legacy, for your own self, the probate court would do it for you, and the probate court charges you more money than you ever realize that they're charging you, and they have a system to charge you money on the will. Everybody now, because of the pastime of will, it's a will. But what this is really all about is for you to get a share of $84.4 trillion. It's already started. It started in 2023. So between 2023 and 2045, you have an opportunity to share in that 84.4 trillion. Okay, now we said 23, but now we're in year 25, and year 25 is a third over. And then between now and December, look how much money you will have saved or put into your own living revocable trust, what this subject is really all about. A living revocable trust. And I hope you, by the time that we get to the end of this presentation, you'll have some idea of why it's so necessary for you to get a living revocable trust to save yourself time and money for you and all of the ones that you love. You see, WTA is on the gavel. Well, this is about Wealth Transfer Alliance. And if you use the Wealth Transfer Alliance, then the judge would not have to hit the gavel to tell you to come back to his or her court for you to pay them some money that they really have not earned, because they're making their money off the will that you have put into their hand. And your will go to court, and the court will charge you to bring your will into court. Here are some true sources of information from Yahoo Finance, said in July 27th, 2023, that the court had started to taking money out, and it's from the silent generations will hand down money to the probate court. Look at the street. The street is saying this is also in 2023. It's saying $84 trillion in assets will, watch that word, will be handed down to millennials and members of the Generation X. Look at Forbes. Forbes goes a little further. 84.4 trillion, and Forbes is telling you and I, which it will affect the economy and job market. That's who are going to be affected by your money if you don't take your money and put it into your possession and take it out of the hands of the probate court, who are like a mosquito sitting there just sucking your private earnings out of your will. You're going to transition, but once you transition, and we all are going to transition, but this process here is about those who are going to transition and those who have yet to be born. So if you are in your 20s and you set up your revocable living trust now, by the time you get up in your 60s, 70s, and 80s, your estate's going to be large enough for those grandchildren and great grandchildren down in your legacy to take out of your revocable living trust what you wanted them to have instead of going to the probate court. And the judges are getting bigger and bigger in their earnings because the courts get bigger and bigger off of your earnings. See, A plus A equal that. Earnings plus earnings equal earning, but 0 plus 0 is 0. So if you don't set this up, you're going to have 0 when you transition, and your estate are going to still be in probate, and the judges are going to still be paid. Look at New York Times, what I'm supposed to be doing. New York Times saying the 84 trillion will be transferred within the next decade. New York Times is saying that the $84 trillion will be transferred in the next decade. Now, moving on, the younger you are, the best. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, just read the information that you see. Say, is a living trust really the best way to pass on inheritance to your family? But of course it is. It's the best way. You don't want to try to do it in a will, because your will be in court. Your revocable living trust will be in the hands of all those you intended for to be in the hand of. What exactly is a living trust, and what are the benefits? It's astronomical. These don't give you any idea of what we're really talking about. But by the time this takes up, it will hopefully give you something that everybody needs to have in estate planning, including you, and especially you. You have to have a living revocable trust or revocable living trust. Either way you say it, we're talking about the word trust, and you are the trust. Remember, all we're talking about are you. And what's your name? Trust. I'm so glad you let me change your name so fast. Drafted by estate planning attorneys. And when you go to WTA Earn, and I hope you do, you can get some detailed information about your earnings that you're going to adhere to over the next linear years, and then between 29 and 2045. And you go on every Tuesday. You can go to 2 o'clock every Tuesday. The company gives you a class on how to set up your revocable living trust. So if you don't get it I'm going to give you now step-by-step information how to set your trust up. This is all about you taking a step, 5 steps, and the 5th step is where you fund your revocable living trust. So you're only talking about 5 steps, because step 4 has 2 steps in it. It's talking about funding and funding. So you'll see that when we get there. But I just want to tell you that you can get every day. So if you miss class today, it's okay. Come back tomorrow, and you're going to have nothing but learning how to manage your living or your revocable living trust. That's all we're talking about now. Though. Everyone, the younger you are is the best to set it up, but the older you are is the best for you to get an understanding, because the more you get, God said, get wisdom, but make sure you get understanding. Above all getting, God said, get understanding. And what you get here that gives me your attention is understanding of what we're talking about, because it's a process. We go to class, you're going to hear some of the same things today you hear tomorrow, because we're talking about the nation. And there are 300 plus million people, members and citizens of the nation. So this is geared for those 300 plus million people. So you may be in class today with just you and 5 or 6 other people who were there last week. But this week you may be in class with 100 people who were not there last week. So that's why you want to be there to pick up on the new information that the class is providing. Okay, and you will get that when you go to the instructions that you're getting here. Now, we have several different kind of products at Wealth Transfer Alliance, and corporate benefits is one of those benefits that all employers and employees are going to have a benefit. And we're going to talk about some other things that people call benefits that really are not benefits, but it's a refund. And a refund is not a benefit. It is a benefit to me when I get my refund, but it's actually a refund. We're going to talk about that. 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 1. God the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit is the same thing. That's what 1 plus 1 is. Me, myself, and I is just one individual. You see my picture on the left side. I am an advocate. You see my name, my phone number. You see my email. And yes, you see my WTA identification number to let you see that I'm actually who I say I am. Okay, then God formed man from the dust of the ground, breathed into his man's nostrils the breath of life, and we all became a living soul when that process started. Now remember, this presentation and God is all covered at the same time. God does not have a respect of person, and there's no color of your soul. There's a twin gender of your soul. When God formed man, He formed uh, two people in one. Adam. He named their name Adam until Adam named his wife Eve. So there are two genders in everybody, and love is in everybody because the Holy Spirit lives inside of you and the Son lives inside of you, and you have to love your neighbor as yourself. So you want to pass this information on to your loved ones and your neighbor over there, and your neighbor over there, and way down there, and over here. These are your neighbors. You don't know their name, never seen them before, but yet and still, you know that God lives inside of your neighbor, and God lives inside of you. And you have to treat your neighbor as you treat yourself, because God knows what you're doing to your neighbor, because he's a witness inside of you. I don't want to get on that. Corporate benefits, internal revenues is a tax credit, plus business expenses, startup cost is a tax deduction or cost, plus wealth transfer alliance technology expenses are also deductible because they're business expenses. We're going to get to that because I'm an accountant and I'm going to tell you what I tell you, what I know, what I'm telling you, and that's all. But I'm just telling you that the WTA has these different kinds of benefits available for you. And I'm not going to go into all of them because we have a whole lot of benefits on the table. We have a whole lot of businesses on the table for you, but the primary one we're talking about is for you to set yourself up a living revocable trust. And now, please, just for the next few minutes, give me your attention. And when I finish giving you the attention that I'm asking you to let me give you, then you go and visit, give me your attention. Now, here we're talking about the Internal Revenue Instruction for Schedule C. In order for you to set up the benefits we're talking about, you're going to want to have a Schedule C. These are the instructions for that. Look at this is the actual form of the 10 Schedule C. Now look under the Schedule C on your left top. It says 1040. 1040 has a whole lot of schedules, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whole lot of schedules, and it has a whole lot of forms up under that. And we're going to go further and show you other schedules up under different forms. And we're going to talk about the Form 1065, the Form 1120. We're going to talk about the Form 1041. Yes, there's a form called 1041, just like this is form here is for 1040. And there's a whole lot of schedules up under each form. I'm not going to give an accounting class. I'm just giving you something that you can hang your hat on, is that this process here, you want to complete the Schedule C, and there's a something that I can tell you about the Schedule C that I'm not going to put in this because I have not gotten the compliance clearance of wealth transfer alliance people, and I have to get that compliance before I can tell you anything. Okay, so there is something I can tell you, but you'd have to let me do that, not in the under the compliance of my contract with Wealth Transfer Alliance. Now, this is also something that you need to know, because most people will tell you, I have a will and my attorney, I have to talk to my attorney, and the attorney is charging you about your will. But you and your attorney, or you and an attorney, most likely would have to go to court for your attorney to represent you in court. And your attorney may not be equipped to represent you in court. Like this here in Assembly, look at the top in the red, it's got the family, immigration, and probate law, intern, pro bono. So the intern pro bono person may not have this legal skill to represent your will. Okay, and then the court is going to ask you to come back and back and back, and every time you go back to the court charges you a court fee. And the court is only an individual, male or female, and sometimes it'll be two or three females because they may have to go up to a higher court. But the lower court, most often is going to be just a male or a female representing the court. And you don't call them on your honor who their name are. You can give the name, but they are the court. And we're talking about, I'm going to go on now, look, because I'm wasting up too much time. Now we get into the technology. This is about you. Here is what you will look like. From this point on till I tell you we're going to stop at that point, you really are looking in the mirror, because what I'm recommending is you do what I have done and get the technology from Wealth Transfer Alliance. You can go there and get it. The total cost of your total information for you need for your business is $425 for you to start the business. And for your business, you're going to have tools in your business. And the tools that you see on the left, there are actually 4 tools that you're going to see. And that's going to cost you another $19.25. Put it up front where you can see it now. But the entire $24.90 can be written off on your income tax. So you're not losing anything. And I have a analogy. I'm saying you take the money out of your right pocket and put it into your left pocket. The money is still in your pocket. It's a little time that you're going to have to wait for, because when you take the money out of your right pocket and you file your tax return, you're going to put on your tax return the start of the business and the tool that you need to operate the business. So both the business and the product is going to, the business startup cost $4.95 is a startup fee for your business, clearly tax deductible on your tax return. But your $19.95 is for the product. Product step 1 is you have to have the interview. You have to understand the interview. You have to go to step 2. That's your review of your trust. You're the trust. Then you're going to go to and sign all the documents that you're going to have to sign in step 3. And you and all of your witnesses and the notary public and an attorney, all those signatures have to be on step 3, which is the review of your trust at that point. Your trust is just starting, but you're going to have the notary signed documents in that you have to have notarized, and an attorney's signature, someone like that who will authorize and notarize it. Their signature is on the documents that are required, because you're going to have to come back to your trust to update it, but you won't have to update their signatures, maybe not, but some of the updates may have to have a witness or a notary. So that's in step 3. So anytime you hear someone from this point on talking about notarizing something in your trust, it has to be notarized, including the funding. We're now going to go to step 4. That's where you see the funding your trust. I'm going to explain funding your trust in this short narrative. You have to put your assets into your trust, not your liabilities. But A is equal to L plus P. That means that your assets plus the liabilities is equal to your proprietorship. But your proprietorship, your profit, won't be there because you have no liabilities. So your A is equal to, in this case here, is equal to P. Your A is equal to your profit. And your profits are going to go up year by year by year, month by month, day by day, because it's sitting there growing in your assets. Your assets move into your home, which is an asset, goes into your trust, and you pay, let's say, $200,000. I can't do that in America, but you let your house stay there for 40 years. You paid off the $200,000. Now the house has a value of, say, $800,000. That's your trust. So you now trust. You put your house in your trust of $800,000 in your trust. You see what I'm saying? Plus all of your other assets goes into your trust. We're going to get that. Now step 4 also has a funding kit. You got to take the funding kit, and the funding kit can change more often than the actual funding. The funding kit is where you're putting the assets into your trust. And you see that the house, they're holding the house goes into your funding kit. Your funding kit is funding your revocable living trust. And then you got your vote. That's step 5. It's really not a process, except you're going to now upload your documents into your trust. You're gonna upload them in. You have all the withal for you to get into your vault. All the secret codes, your passwords, all that's going to be there. Look on the left side, because this is what you do. Wealth Transfer Alliance technology is what we're talking about. Wealth transfer allowance is preparing your trust and show you how to set up your revocable living trust, step-by-step technology. You're going to need the name and the contacts of them information for your beneficiaries. You're going to need the name and date of the birth of your children in that you put into your trust, which you may take some out later on. I'll talk about that too. You're going to need the name and the contact of information for your trustee and agent of your living revocable trust. You're going to have about an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. I don't know how long it's going to take you to put information or change information in your revocable living trust. And you may be coming back and back and back and back as long as you are alive to change your revocable living trust. And your living will is going to go into your revocable living trust. If the court wants to see your will, then you give them your living will, and the court then know that you have your own revocable living trust, and there's no need for the court to try to tell you to come to court because you've already told the court what you want your legacy to do. I'm gonna call. I did apologize. I think I did about this because I have a dry mouth sometime now. Step two, we're in step two, and you see on this information. I didn't talk about it a while ago, but the welcome button was highlighted, and it had my name there saying "Welcome, David, to your client. Welcome to your client section, David," and they're talking to me. Then this is my personal product for my revocable living trust. This is how to set up the revocable living trust. And the living trust is a product. It's a product for you to benefit your legacy for your loved ones after leave. So you see on the side it's got your information. Well, this is my information. David Richardson is my name, and you see the information that I started. Really, I'm showing you everything because everything that you see is about me, and it changes because I change every second of the day, so do you. And my changes is what you see changing. I'm changing every day, updating my information, and your information at the top left is what you see on the top right. Your information is highlighted, it's darkened because that's the tab that I'm under. But look on the left, on the right. On the right, I'm sorry, on the left you see trust provisions, and on the right, you see trust provisions highlighted. Well, all the information that you see on the right is for trust provisions. So you're looking at two things at the same time of the product, my revocable living trust. You're looking at two things. You're looking at my information, and on the right side, you're looking at my trust provision. My name would go there. Your name is this. You see, this is you. Your name would be up there at the top where it says trust name. That would be you. It didn't say your name. It said trust name. So who are you? You are trust. So now you are now setting up your own revocable living what trust. So what you're putting in there is the name of your trust. That's what we're talking about. Right up on there, it's got the date, the trust date. It's got the equal benefit share. You got that there. You can. All this is about your trust provision. Okay, I'm taking up too much time, because you can study this information by not clicking the video, because this is a video. On the now left side, you see what's highlighted, your children. On the right side, you see what's highlighted up under your children is distribution option. Now we're going to talk about your side first, because there's some things on your side that you can see that's at the top and at the bottom. The top is showing you what your children will look like when you put them in, if they're your children. It'll be you and your child, or you and your children. And you put the picture there so that everybody can see who you are looking at if you want to. I did that on mine. See that? List the children added to your estate plan portfolio. You put the name and the edited information about your children. My family is at the bottom. You see some of my grandchildren and my great grandchildren and my children. You see the man that's holding the two people in the center. That's my son, and he's holding his grandchildren. His daughter and her son, his son, is on the left side of him. But on the right side of him is another one of my sons with his sons and daughters and their wives and his wife. So you see, the living revocable trust has everyone that you want in your trust. Let's move to the right, taking too much time. The distribution options. You see the distribution option. You can look at the video to give you a concrete understanding of what it's about. Joint trust for children. Joint trust for children, sub-trust. You're the trust, and your children are who? Your sub-trust. The video explains all of that, and you go down through the information to see what you're going to have to put in there for your distribution options. And distribution option is highlighted on the right side, but if down in the distribution, after you watch the video, you see distribution options, and it show you the joint trust for children, yes. And if it's a no, you say no. If it's yes, then you got to go down and complete the information up under the joint trust options for your children. Okay, now let's move on. And at the bottom, when you get down to the bottom of the joint trust for the distribution option, you just simply going to click on save and continue. It brings you now to what's highlighted is the row right up under on the left side, distribution options. On the right side, up on the rows, you see add people. Well, let's talk about the left side, because the left side, you want to put in your trust, your successful trustees. You're going to put in the healthcare agent. You're going to put in a financial agent. You're going to put in a guardian. You're going to get a video about all of those data, but on the side now, the developers of the software or the technology is only introducing you to see what you're going to have to do. It's called the estate plan roles. And what's the estate plan roles? I'm glad you asked. The trustee, the successor trustee, the healthcare agent, the financial agent, and the guardians. That's the estate plan role. Look on the right. Add people or organizations. You add the people, it's telling you how to add the people, and the organization down at the bottom has got the living trust estate plan. That's you that we're talking about. You see up at the above that, at the black above the black line, you said and organization and people added to my estate planning portfolio, and you check names and edit that information to show who you're putting into your thing, and you go back to your vault. You close your vault now because you just made some changes. You haven't finished, but you're going to keep all the information that you have put into your vault. You want to keep it safe. So you lock your vault up and you move on. The next thing is the beneficiary selection. That's what's highlighted on the right. On the left, we're going to go to, when we click go forward, we're going to end up at add people or organizations, you see. So now we are on the left side, beneficiary selection. We're going to let know now who we've selected as the beneficiary. List of beneficiaries added to my estate plan. They click the name and edit. I'm going to put all that information up under beneficiary selection. And on the left side, you see disinheritance up under benefit selection. But we're now talking about benefit selection on the left side. So when we go forward, right quick here, we're going to end up now at the disinheritance, because the disinheritance is the next thing on the right side. But before we go forward, we're going to have to talk about the disinheritance. The list of disinherited individuals, give the name. And the people that you really disinheriting are those children that you have moved out because they got their own household of children and they got their own revocable living trust. They are now their own trust. So you're now taking them off of your living revocable trust, and you may want to keep them on, but you may want to reduce some of the privileges that they have in terms of income, in terms of this or that, the property. You may want to change all that, and when you do, you just simply go back to your backwards and make the changes on what you want changed, and then lock it back up in your vault. And if you have a living will there, you can do that. We haven't gotten to that yet, but it's going to come up, because now we're going from that to the next slide, which is the trustee selection. Now we're selecting those persons who want you, or who you want to be your trustee. And it could be all, I see it say your trustee, it's got your successor, and all of that information you got to do. Look down up under, it says David Richardson's initial successful trustee, because you can change all that. David Richardson's living trustee, David Richardson primary alternative trustee, successful trustee. You got to put that person's name there. Down the board, you got to put the secondary, the alternative trustee. Got to put the alternative trustee there. When you're finished, you click save and you move forward. When you go forward, oh, I missed that. Oh, can't go back. When you go forward, you're gonna come down to, from the trustee selection, you're gonna come down to the financial agent, and there's a video on the financial agent. There's a video on the health agent, the healthcare agent. We missed the financial agent because I've gone too fast and I can't go back. David Richardson, healthcare agent. You put that there. On the previous slide, it would have had David Richardson, financial agent, which you had to put the agent there. David Richardson's alternative or David Richardson primary agent. Please select the healthcare agent. That's also on the financial agent, but you had a financial agent video just like you have a financial healthcare agent video. On the right side, you have the same thing. You have a living will. Now the living will, what you may want the court to see your living will. So the court can't try to get you to come to order you to come to court because you're letting the court know this is what I want to do with my legacy. I don't want you to make the decision for me. I want to do this for myself. So I'm setting myself up a bona fide trustee of my estate. And it's proven by the United States government for me to do this. And it has no necessity to go to court. Look at the living will advance directive. We're talking about, we're now in the directive. We're directing the advanced directives of what we're saying. David Richardson, end of life care directive. I'm now in transition. When I transition, I'm telling Lottie, Dottie, and everybody about what I want people in my estate to have. Me, I've listed that, and this is my living. This is my end of life. When I transition, this is what I want to happen. I'm not going to go into my vault and change anything else. I'm not going to have anything else notarized. I'm just now going to wait for my estate to sit and grow. I don't want anybody taking anything out of my estate, calling it a court cost. I don't want any lawyer telling me that I had to pay him or her $8,000-$9,000 per hour when he only or she only gave me a half-hour service on the phone, but they turned it into the court that it was 9 hours, $900 an hour for 20 hours. That's this month, but I go back next month when the court asks me to come back and review something in my will, which I don't want to do because I have transitioned. I can't do it no way. But the court calls me back, and the court has to appoint me an attorney if I don't have one. And the attorney is going to turn into the court that he or she worked with me in the exclusive number of hours at $800-900. That comes out of my estate. That comes to the court cost comes out of my estate. So all of these data here you see down up under, if no is above, then the following questions are required. And these following questions has to be notarized and witnessed for me to tell the court that I have my own living will, and these persons notary here and these persons witness signature show the court who I am and what I want to happen at my end of life directives. These are my end of life directives. I have now transitioned, went on home with the Lord, but now look, this is what I want to happen, Mr. and Mrs. Court, or whosoever is watching. Now when I hit save and continue, then I go forward to my living will and advanced directive. I got a video explaining what I want my living will and advanced directive to be. This is my end of life care directive. My end of life care directive. If no, at the top, then I go down and I put all my people and they have it notarized and witnessed. So this is all in my vault. All of this data is in my vault. I put it there just before my end of life. I don't know when God's going to do that. You don't know when God's going to say, look, your time is up. No, you don't have another minute. Your time is up. And I transition at that moment. That's my end of life directive, which I've already put into my vault and locked it up. And the only person can go into my vault is who I've designated to go into my vault. If the court wants to see my living will advance directive, I give it to the court. And of course, I see what he wanted to happen. He wanted you, and to have this. And he's already specified as the trust. He's already verified what he wants to happen. And the next thing you see on the right side is the organs of my own body that I want to put out. But I wouldn't put it in mine. I didn't put it in mine because my driving license had already committed my organs. And that's back when you get your driving license. You can, if you answer certain questions on your application, when you transition, they would take your parts of your body and what you've given away and give them to whoever they want to give them to, or sell them to, is a better way of saying it. But what I'm saying in this example here, you see at the top, the picture is in red, human organs. So your organs is now, you're donating, and it tells you on the right side who you're going to donate them to. And at the top is in bold black, it said David Richardson, organs donor. I'm the organs donor. And they list the things on there that they want, that I would have wanted to be given away. But they still may give some away. I don't know. I just know that I have already signed an application when I got my driving license some years ago to give my organs away. So I'm moving on from this. Too much time. Okay. We're now on the guardian selection. How are you going to select the guardians that you're going to leave back? You put your primary guardians at the bottom and disabled children, but at the top it's got the primary organs of minor children. So whoever your minor children are, their names and ages and date of birth and all that will go there. That's the rule, okay? And down at the bottom, this is just to show you that your estate planning have rules. And there are exceptions also in your revocable living trust, but you're going to get rid of the exceptions and the rules, which is the court going to look at, because your will, which you've already put into your revocable living trust, you're going to give it to the court, and the court's going to give it back to you with no changes. You're going to give them a copy. You always keep your original copy, but you give the court a copy of your living will and in this irrevocable trust, and the court can see all the notarized, all of these signatures, and what is supposed to be signed on your living will. Now look at the right side, it's got special bequest. This is what you leave into a special request for your beneficiaries that you're leaving, and this is for your revocable living trust estate plan, and it's showing you what you're going to give everyone back. And you see at the top it says list of the special requests, and you list what they are to the people you want it to be listed to. Now look at the top, it says in selecting, you can't make bequeaths property. For example, if you have family in China that you have want to give your niece $25,000 as specific as a specific charity, this is the page which you can input that information. So you want to put the name of all the people that you want to bequeath something to, and they can be outside of the United States, what we're saying, because in the United States, as you know, we got many citizens of the United States are working to help the United States function in foreign countries. So you may have an ambassador and all of his people in China. He may be in any country. We got ambassadors all over the world. We got military people all over the world. So you never know when you're gonna run into. I have personally have tax accountants in Korea. I mean tax clients in Korea. So you may never know where you're gonna be servicing people, United States citizens, for the United States government outside of the United States government. And this is one of those examples that they're showing you specifically how you can bequeath an American citizen something that's working in China, living in China, but a citizen of the United States doing business for the United States in China, because this software, this technology that is designed for citizens in the United States. Now we are now concluding this, because you see at the top, this is a final section required to create your estate planning portfolio. So you see down, this is for David Richardson in bold. So David Richardson didn't give you his information. He's just showing you what your information will look like when you get down to the bottom, because you're going to click the save and continue button. And when you do, it's going to take you to the review for what David Richardson has put into his revocable living trust. And you can see all down at the bottom. Make sure you understand the red writing, because the red writing is a requirement. Now remember that you've already put a whole lot of information in your vault, but these data here has to go into your vault. So you're going to open up your vault again, and you're going to put this review of the information in your vault to show what you want to happen. Because on the right side, what's highlighted at the bottom on the right is a review. What's at the top to let you know you're in the review. Now we're going to continue on to show you the remaining part of this, which is the continuing of the review. That's step page 2 of the review. And down at the bottom, it's still highlighted review. But look at the right side. At the right side, back at the top, we got welcome again. It says, welcome to the estate portfolio for David Richardson. And it's listing everybody else that David Richardson has in his estate plan portfolio. And we're now looking at the portfolio because the next button up under welcome is interview review. We're reviewing the review. This is the review we see on the left side in the red. But now on the right side, we are reviewing what the review has to make sure the review is accurate. And that's going to be put back into the vault. Well, for the court. This wasn't some directives or whatever, but of course, look down the review side. On the welcome side, we had the financial agent, we had the healthcare agent, we had the advanced directive, the organ donors, the guardian, the profession review, and the other options that we had. That was under the review. Now we're on the welcome you to the page where you're gonna have to now review what you put into the review. So at the top you see review for the continuing, you see, but it's got the interview review. On the interview review is the review. And this is the interview and the review you see on the left side. The interview review on the left side. On the right side, look at the left side. Up under interview review, you see the revocable living trust. Right up under the darkened interview review, revocable living trust. Now turn to the right, look at the right. Revocable living trust is what you see over here. This is for the parents and all the children, and you see the hand, that's what the hand is saying. It's got one child for this example. But just look at myself with 6 sons. The revocable living trust are my grandchildren, my sons, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren. All of that is there. I don't have any great-great, dear Ann, but I will have and may expect some, because right now, one of my granddaughters married to my son is what my great-grandchild in her stomach. So that child's hand would be in my hand, if you see what I'm saying. When my baby, my great-grandchild is born this year in 2025, that great-grandchild's hand will be in my hand and my revocable living trust. Whatever they name the child, whatever the gender of the child is, they're going to go into my revocable living trust. A list of revocable living trust file. You see above there, the edit information, the edit interview, generate document, generate and upload it. So I'm going to change all this information, put all this information in, and then put it into my vault. See, it said upload, put it into my vault. And the next thing you're going to see is going to be the certificate of trust. So now this is the certificate of trust. You see the money, that's the certificate of trust, is the primary and providing evidence to the transfer agent. Okay, the broker, the bank, the accountant, the manager, that's who we're talking about to put into that your certificate is going to cover. And on the right side, up under the revocable living trust and the certificate of trust, you see the living will testament. So now we're going to go to the living will testament to let you see that. It's already highlighted, right? So the living will testament is on this. The living will testament is an testament and better distributed as the proof of the will, as the proof. The pour over the will, the pour over the will. We're now going back over the will, the living will. We're going back over it because the court may want to see it. We're just making sure that it's in what we want it to be. So when we give it to the court, it's already done. So with the living will testament is what you see on the right side. We're now past the certificate of trust. Now on the right side, we're looking at the living will and testament. And now we missed the financial agent a few minutes ago, but now we're getting ready to look at the financial power of attorney. And the financial power of attorney, as you see here, it has to be notarized, it has to be witnessed, and it has to be signed. That's what we're talking about. I'm going to take a sip of this water and relax myself just for a minute. All right, but what you do looking at now is the power of attorney for the power of attorney for the financial power of attorney. You're looking at the attorney, power of attorney, for the financial power of attorney. On the right side, looking at the healthcare power of attorney. On the right side, we're looking at two power of attorneys. On the right side, we're looking at the power of attorney for the financial power of attorney. And on the left side, we're looking at the healthcare power of attorney. So both of these power of attorney, you see the pen is there? Both of them have to be signed, witnessed, and notarized. That's the power of you having in your hand, so that the court won't have anything to do but just look at you, the trust. You've transitioned. The court won't have anything to do but hand it back to whoever gave it to the court and move on without any court cost, anything going, because your will is into your trust. And the court only can move on a will. The court can't move on a revocable living trust because the United States government has approved the technology that you're using to avoid the probate court costs and the attorneys that the probate court assigned. So all of the money that would have been extracted from your revocable living trust or a will is now in your revocable living trust with no power of the court over it, because the United States government has eliminated the court's probate process. And the probate process, explained in this simple term, is that if I go to court and the court decides that whatever I'm there for does not warrant me being incarcerated or locked up, the court can put me on probation. And it's the same thing here. I put my will in the court, and the court said, let me hold the will and make my determination as to whether or not it's going to be awarded or not awarded to the people you're trying to give it to in your will. Because you gave it to a cousin, but a third cousin could protest it in court, and I would keep it in court until I get in touch with the third cousin who is not listed in the will. It's just the third cousin file a motion in court with his or her attorney and make me stop giving you what you want in your will. So it may take him 10 to 15 years to find that cousin to get all the things that the cousin is protesting, because the cousin could have had children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and all of those persons could have been a part of the will. So it stays in the court, and the court cost goes up out of your estate, and the attorney fees goes up out of your estate. So the longer your estate stays in court, the less you're going to get. But as a trustee of your will, being the trustee, because the revocable living trust, you are the trust. Your power attorney and for your finance, your power attorney for your health, all have been notarized and signed. So the court knows what you wanted before you transition. Moving on, the last will for the revocable living will, and it's also giving you the activity for the directives for your living will. Just look at the top. See, they got the directive for the physical regarding the affiliate life support. It's giving you everything you need to know about it, and your name is in that whole process, and it has to be notarized. See down at the top, at the bottom, it has to be notarized, and all the documents and put back into your vault. So you take it out of your vault and generate the documents that's required at this living will, and you got to put them back into your document. And down at the bottom, you see down says this document must be signed into the presence of two witnesses by both David Richardson and, so because it could be my wife, my third wife, or whoever, my children, whoever Ann is, it has to be witnessed by that individual, both David Richardson and the individual. So, and put back into my vault, or your vault, so you know what's happening. Now, the next step on the left is funding kit. On the right, you see what funding kit is. At the top is giving you the funding of your trust. Now you are making the most powerful move out of all the information that you've seen in this presentation. The most powerful one you can use now is the funding of your trust. You are the trust, and you have to fund it. Your house, your boat, your plane, your paintings, your copyright materials, your jewelry, and the list goes on and on of whatever you have that's categorized as an asset. That's what's put into your trust. And that's the definition of funding it through the funding kit. On the right side is giving you the funding kit, and on the left side, and on the right side is giving you the funding kit. You are now funding, because remember step 4 had 2 definitions. At the top, it had funding, and at the bottom, it had funding kit. Well, now you're going and completing the funding kit to put the assets into your revocable living trust. And you've been putting them in from the time that you got it, because having an understanding is having an understanding, and God said above all get an understanding. So when you first get your product from Wealth Transfer Alliance through these presentations that I'm making, and they make them themselves, they're telling you that you, and we're telling you that you need to have your revocable living trust funded, or else you don't have a trust. You only have a trust with all the data we've talked about and all the assets that you're funding with your trust. So your assets is the funding process of your trust. You're the trust, but your assets is already in your vault. You put them in there days ago. Every time you think of assets, you go back to your vault, open the vault, and put the name of the assets there and the proof of the asset. You put it there, and you close the vault back up, and now your assets is in your vault. So you don't wait until the last day to do it, because doing it on the last day, God may say, no, I gave you the time, but you didn't do it. So now we're going to go to the last one, which is the kit. The vault. We're putting everything now uploaded into our vault. That's what we're talking about. Our Wealth Transfer Alliance, United States Estate Planning Technology, worldwide created, and they give you can call me. That's my Magic Jack number. And I just uploaded a new page. I thought it was up to 2035, but my Magic Jack now is up past 2040. Okay, I'm 80 years old, so I don't know when I'm going to transition, but I don't expect to be here another 40 years. Okay, it's designed for your revocable living trust. Everything that we've talked about is for your revocable living trust. And what you see now in by picture form is that you are putting your estate plan documents into your estate plan revocable living trust. Now, as sometimes it can be, and it is, and when I say sometimes, when you finish this process and you go study what I'm going to give you from this point on, you can take your $24.95, the $4.95 to start the business, and the products that the business have, which is your estate planning. Your estate planning going into you're the trust, but that's a product for your business, and it's our tax write-off. So it's going to cost you $24.95 for the $4.95 to start the business, which is a business expense, startup expense, and the product that you're going to have, the major product. You'll have other products. You're going to have many other products over the period of time. Because you didn't have the trust until 2025. But in 2026, you may have added some products that are assets. The products can be an asset. This is an asset that's going into your business. It's a product, but it's an asset. But you can't put this asset into your vault, because this is the asset. Your vault is the asset, if you can hear what I'm saying. What you have in your vault is all the assets you got. So your vault is now an asset, if you can hear what I'm saying from an accounting standpoint. Okay, how can I put my IRA in? You can only put your IRA in your trust after you tell your trustee. You can only put your IRA in your trust while you cannot put your IRA in your trust while you're living. It's an advantage to have it in your trust after you have transitioned. That's the only time you have it as an advantage, because it's there and it has assets in it. And those assets, after you have transitioned, you've left the notarized documents for your agent, your trustee, overseeing your trust, to put your IRA in your trust. And that could be there for a long time, if you can hear what I'm saying. Because if you don't take the money out of the IRA, the assets continue to grow, and your estate is continue to grow. So a product is a product. A product is a product, but you got to know what kind of products that you're going to put into your trust. And anything in your trust product, like this technology here, can be a write-off to you. But you got to talk to a person who knows what you're talking about. This is also an asset. So when you retire, and give me your attention, when you retire, you may want to have your own kind of operating your business. You may live in California, but you want to go to Hawaii to talk about your trust. You can't drive it, but I'm just giving an example. If you're living in California, I'm going to go say that, and you go to Washington State, or you want to go from California to Chicago, or from Chicago to Memphis, Tennessee, or from Memphis, Tennessee to Jackson, Tennessee. You may want to go to Jackson, Florida. We don't know. But what I'm saying is your mode of travel, if it's by plane, it's a write-off because you're going to conduct business. If you're driving in a luxury vehicle, you're still going to conduct business. And that's a tax write-off for the travel expenses to go from point A to point B to set up a living revocable trust for the person in that city. So you don't have to do it by phone, but you can do it by phone. But if you want to physically go, then your business trip there is a write-off for the gas, mileage, or whatever you have. It's just an idea to show you. Now, people ask questions. I'm going to go through this kind of fast. What is a living trust? You already know. Just read this data for yourself. Stop it and say it for yourself. Same thing here, credits and deductions for businesses. Stop this. Talk to your accountant about it, because this is not an accounting class. I'm just giving some ideas, some pointers, so what you can have. Deduct expenses. You can find out how to do that through the process. And I can do it too if you contact me. I can tell you what it is, but we're then changing our understanding. All right, business tax credits. Look at the kind of forms that a business tax credit require and how to change a claim different kinds of credits on different kind of forms. Remember I talked about the 1040. These are 1040 forms, and then here is a 7206 for self-employed individuals. And the lawyers can be self-employed, doctors can be self-employed, all kinds of people can be self-employed. I'm going to show you that in a minute to show you how to take advantage of those persons, because what this form here is for the self-employed health insurance deduction. And in our country today, many people are losing their jobs, and when they lose their job, they're also losing their health care deductions. Okay, so but we now look at that as a blessing to have those persons to contact other advocates in Wealth Transfer Alliance, so that those persons who are losing their job can continue to have group rate health insurance at a lower cost than what they were paying while they were employed. So we're trying to show those persons how to take advantage of this opportunity to set themselves up a business and put the products that we're talking about into their business and writing it off on their income tax. 30, the entire amount, the 24.95, the 4.95 to start the business, and the 1,995 to set up the product for your business that you have, because your business now is the Wealth Transfer Allowance Advocate, business building advocate. Hear that word, business building advocate. So your business that you started is an advocate business under Wealth Transfer Allowance. And as a business building advocate, your business expenses and your products can be written off against the money that you're making out of your business. And then I'm going to show you an illustration of the kind of money that your business can produce in a minute. But let me finish this, because what we're talking about now are the self-employed insurance deductions at the form I just showed you. But look at the top. In prior year, a Schedule K1, you may receive a Schedule K1 from different business, and Wealth Transfer Allowance may be one of those companies. Uber is a company that gives you Schedule K1. All the travel aid people that are delivering your food and stuff like that, they're receiving a Schedule K1. But a 1041 is a schedule up under 1041 form. 1065 form also can use have to use a Schedule K1. The 1120 or any other pending forms can be used by a Schedule K1, but you have to get that information and later on. But what I'm recommending under the Schedule the SS4 is different. And when you get in touch, I will show you the difference. But you see the 7604 at the bottom, self-employed health insurance deduction, the 706. All of this is for self-employed people insurance to show you how to deduct the health insurance that you are self-employed, because as an advocate of WTA, you are a self-employed individual. And by you being a self-employed individual with WTA, and you may have found a part-time job after being fired by the federal government, you may find a self-employed job that's going to give you an opportunity for you to have a write-off for the 6 or 7 different kinds of health insurance that you can have. And I'm going to show you some of those insurances in a minute. But here, this is the state gift and tax frequently asked questions. The video highlighted in the yellow at the bottom above the state planning technology detail video is to show you what kind of estate and gift tax questions that you're going to have and get an answer from them, because we have a video explaining that. Here's what we're talking about with the 1995 going into your vault. You see, that's the product that you put into your vault, can be written off on your income tax if it's treated as a product. If you don't treat it as a product under your business startup, then forget about what you see. That's why I showed it the 2 different kinds. I showed you with the possibility of writing it off on your tax, and I showed you the possibility of you not writing it up on your tax if you're not treating it as a product. If it's a product, then you're going to write the product off on your tax. You're going to write the startup costs on your tax. That's the $24.95. You're going to deduct it off your tax, and that's going to reduce your liability or increase your refund. Either way you go, it's going to do it. Okay, so here's the 76706. I'm just putting that for information purposes only. The United States estate and generational skipping transfer tax return. Get all your information. It's a very long form. As you see, page 2, I think it goes up to page 30 or 40, something like that. Pages in this form. I don't use it. I've never used it, God willing, and that I won't have to, because it's a very long form, and I would have to charge too much, and I don't want that. I want to satisfy my client. Happen to do it, I can do it, but I've never done it. These are instructions for that Schedule K1 that we talked about a minute ago, and I want you to look at. This is for the 1065. What I showed you a while ago was for the 1041, and then also the 1120. 1120 is a whole different ball game, whole different tax deduction discussion. But this is for the general instructions for the Schedule K1. Moving on. Here is some of the illustrated incomes that are self-employed individuals who don't have a job and would like to become a business builder with transfer lines. Then if you want to become a business builder, then I'm going to show you how to do that. You become a business builder, and these are the kinds of income that's illustrated to show you if you get up and go to work, do what you're supposed to be doing, just like you were working on the job that released you, and you went to work one morning and found out that you had been fired. You can't be fired here because you are self-employed, and they're not going to fire yourself. You're just going to follow the compliance of you building your own business, and you're going to be paid a handsome monthly income, yearly income, that you're going to report to the Internal Revenue minus the business expenses that you have incurred earning the income. So the income is taxable income. You'll receive it on a 1099 or Schedule K1, regardless of how you receive it. It's taxable income. And your business expenses are on your bank statements and other places with other kinds of receipts and proof for the Internal Revenue should they ask. But this is the kind of illustrated income that an individual can earn. And here's another example. I showed you how to put your estate into your vault, and the products and services and the startup costs for your business can be written off on your income tax. And the total startup cost right now, subject to change, is the $495 startup fee for the business, and the $995 is the startup fee for you to have the technology to run your business. The product is going to start you to run the business. There are going to be other products. I'm just telling you. There's going to be other business expenses. I'm telling you that because it's a revocable living trust, and you're operating it as a business in America, even if you have to go out of America to another country to set up a United States citizen in that country, revocable living trust. So your trip from here to Japan to set up a revocable living trust for an American that's working for the American government in Japan, your trip to Japan is a business trip to exercise the product, and you're gonna start that person off, and you're gonna earn a handsome income by doing it. But the information I showed you, if I go in the illustration, you can earn 2 or 3 different kinds of income as a self-employed individual working for Wealth Transfer Alliance, because Wealth Transfer Alliance advocates earn 10 different forms of income. I'm gonna say that kind of slow. A Wealth Transfer Alliance advocate can earn 10 different forms of income from utilizing their services, building a business with Wealth Transfer Alliance. That's what you can have. If you lost your job recently, don't worry about it. Just come in and hopefully you have enough resources to sustain you for the next couple of months. And in 2 months' time, you can start receiving a monthly income, a month after month after month after month, and it grows and grows, month after month after month. That's what you can do if you with the WTA. Now look, Social Security is not um, is not is not a benefit. Social Security is not a benefit. Social Security is an refund, a reimbursement. Social Security is a reimbursement. It's not a Ponzi scheme. Social Security is a refund of your reimbursement of the money that you put. I tell you what you do. If you still have a job, you're going to receive by now. If you didn't have a job in January, you had a job in January and had one in February, they're going to have to send you your W-2. Look at your box on your W-2 up under the Social Security benefit. Your Social Security benefits is going into your savings account at Social Security. Your Social Security retirement savings account. Your Social Security on your paycheck is going into your Social Security savings account. You call it retirement. I call it retirement too, but it's a different adjective for saving. Retirement benefits is just a form of saving going into, it's not a benefit, but into a savings account. And it's not a reimbursement, but it's not a reimbursement for the government to decide they're going to take my savings account and give it to someone else. It's my savings account. But the person doing it is not a student of the financial system in America. This person is selling cars and other things and making money, even with contracts, planes, and things like that in America. But that person has no idea of the money that he personally is putting into Social Security. It's not a Ponzi scheme. It's a savings account. And he has a right to take the money out of his savings account at some age on a certain amount of money. He just can't walk into the Social Security Administration and say, give me all of my money out of my Social Security savings account, because I made a contract to take it out just like I put it in, month by month by month. I put it in daily, every time I get paid. Let's say I got $3,000 in Social Security benefits on my W-2 for this week. Well, it's a week. So next week is $6,000 that's coming out of my pay going into the Social Security. So let's multiply that $6,000 times 12. That's 12 months. Let's multiply that $6,000 12 months times 45 years that I put in working. Don't you see what my Social Security savings account has? And you got a person coming who knows nothing about the financial system in America, that made money in South Africa and other countries and Canada off of automobiles that don't do what they're supposed to do, and planes that flying and falling out of the air. This person, a black man, is raising this over with a white man and a black man. The white man don't know as much as the black man. The black man don't know nothing about the financial system in America. The white man president don't know nothing about the financial system in America, because I got two people sitting in a position to take Social Security benefits, what they call them benefits, Social Security reimbursements, out of your pocket and do something else with it, calling it a Ponzi scheme. It ain't no Ponzi scheme, person. The person don't have an understanding, and God said, I didn't say it, God said above all get an understanding. But these two persons don't have the understanding or the mindset to do what they're supposed to do. So the reimbursement account that you set up is for reimbursement. It is not a Ponzi scheme. And the United States citizens who put savings account money into their savings accounts in Social Security know it to be true. It's a reimbursement to each depositor and not a benefit. It is not a benefit, Mr. Musk. And you're right. God said it in Ezra 2:67. What the 6,720 were. And that's what's happening. That's how you're acting like one of those individuals. One of those individuals. And you and a person that's listening to you who knows less than anything, but that person only see money, just like you. I got two people who has made their God money. And all other people running behind them are looking for money. They're not looking for God. The man, the spirit with all the money, he owned the cars that you own. He owns all the money you have in the bank. He owns everything. He owns the bank because you're going to transition. He's not. He's the eternity. And he's letting you live in time, and you taking the time for yourself. You can't do that. You got to use the one that's living in you. And go to the Bible and look at John 17:26. The Holy Spirit lives in you. His name is powerful. And it lives in you. He lives in you. And his son lives in you. He got two spirits inside of one. That's why 1 + 1 + 1 = 1. You see, you're only I. Me, myself, is the Holy Spirit. Yes, that lives inside. Me is the Christ living inside. I, you see, I is only you got. And there's no I in the two team because there's a team inside of you. There's no I in team. There's no I in team. Neither one of you are an I in team. You're individual. 1 + 1 + 1 = 1. I. But the Father, Son are the team that's making I function. Don't you see? Can you just see that 45 and 47? You can't see it and you wearing it on your head and you can't think fast enough that you can throw a mosquito? I'm going to move on because I get too excited looking at you. These persons here, they lost everything. They didn't have a revocable living trust. Revocable living trust is not available for those persons that you see here. These are proud people, they say. But God don't like pride. I want you to say that. And you got pride. All you got is the money. If the money goes, where you going to go? If something happened tomorrow and all the money left, what would you do? What would you do if you had no money? You're trying to make decisions off of your money. And your money is worthless. You don't have anything that God wants you to have. And one thing you need that he told you to get, above all get understanding. And you prove day by day that you do not have understanding. Neither one of you have the understanding. And you surround yourself with other persons and they're showing their lack of understanding daily. They don't have understanding. All they understand is, I want some of that money. Oh, I want some of that money. If I do this, he's going to take his money and kick me out of the money I'm getting. So all you talking about is money. And God owns the money. He owns the bank that you put the money in. Whatever program you put in, Mr. Billionaire, he owns you and your billions. You got to understand. You are just a thought. I mean, here's an understanding of how you get your month by month pay from becoming a self-employed individual and you setting up other persons, self-employed individuals, to get started in the process. I'm going to move it on. Here is a person who did not set up their revocable living trust and they left billions of dollars in their hand, 100% group rate health insurance for all WTA nationwide estate planning advocates and or working in a self-employed status. So once you enroll in WTA, you're going to be working as a self-employed individual. And even if you were to transition, it wouldn't be like these persons here. Miss Monroe, 370,000, Daisy Duke, 1.3 billion in the probate court, and they still got it. James Brown, 73 when he died, left 100 million in the probate court, and his assets are still producing money for his estate plan, which he didn't have. All he had was a will. But what's going into his will are the proceeds from the radio stations that he had and other intangible assets that he acquired while he was James Brown and passed away at the age 73. Well, look at the Supreme Court judge. He left 1.8 million. And look at the young fella under him, say 27, left 80 million in the probate court. But look at Miss Helmley. God bless Miss Helmley. She left $5 billion in the probate court. And just think of all of the other persons who have transitioned, went home, had a will, and they're still in probate court. I personally know people that's been in the probate court for 9 years. And the person that I know, his parent had a farm. He had two brothers, and both his parent and his two brothers has transitioned with the Lord. And he's in probate court. For what? You move, you tell me. But that's what I know. Now you can set your revocable living trust up on your phone. I wouldn't recommend it because you can't put the information in the vault that you want. I recommend that you sit down at a computer because a phone does not handshake with the computer as well. I get a whole lot of people that send me information on an iPhone, and I try to print it out and prepare their income tax. It's too black for me to see. And I raise it up on the high as I can get it on the computer, and it's still darkened. The iPhone, oftentimes don't handshake. You got to understand the term handshake with a computer. So if you're sending information and setting up your revocable living trust, go to the library and use a library's computer to set up your revocable living trust. If you want to add something in your trust and put it in your vault, do it at the computer because you got all in your mind, password and secret code. You got all that in your mind is how to get into your trust. So only you can get in and out. And then you can lock it back up right then and there at the library. Now look, this is an ending of the process. I put the red arrow at the bottom and the red at the bottom on the right. This is the instructions that we've gone through. And wealth transfer allows technology. Estate planning is a legacy information for the United States nationwide. Attorney developed and designed specifically for you. This is just for you. The Wealth Transfer Alliance is for you to set up your revocable living trust and your business. If you set the revocable living trust up, which I did myself, I set up the revocable living trust before I started the business. But I said, wait a minute. The revocable living trust is a product. The revocable living trust is a product that goes into my business for me to run my business. So my product now is tax deductible. Yep, I'm saying it out loud because it is. But you have to understand how to do that. It's not as simple as you think, but it's easy. It's easier than you think. But you need to have someone with the understanding as to how to do it. And I recommend that you talk to someone who has understanding. If they don't, then I have the understanding. Call me, and I'm not violating the compliance structure of WTA. I'm just helping people get their technology that's needed for them to avoid paying the probate court money that it does not deserve. Now watch this. I'm going to show you some things. This is a probate court. I'm going to call. This is a probate court. Look at the probate court earned in 2025, the chief judge, $223,500. For what? All they did was give the judge their will, and the will is paying the judge $250,000 for nothing. All the court has is the will, and he has court costs when he tell you or she tell you to come to court, and they assign the attorneys that's charging you $600, $700, $800 per hour, and the attorney may call you, say, hey, I'm just checking on you to see how your estate is going, and I'll call you back later. Well, he didn't spend but a little time on the phone. Well, he'll call you back tomorrow. And then when he turns or she turns in their attorney fees to the court that's been assigned by the court, they can turn in 20 hours at $900 an hour. But look how much money comes out of your state goes to the attorney. And look how much money comes out of your state that goes to the probate court. And then the probate court hire judges, district judges, circuit judges, associate judges, chief judges, district judges, circuit judges, associate judges, and chief judges. Look what the chief judge makes. $317,500. That's what some chief judges make in such district. 317,000. And look what the bottom judge made. The chief judge at the bottom in 2012 made 323,000. While the same judge, chief judge, making it 223,000 is making the same thing today. So you see the income structure didn't change. The judge made in 2012 223,000, Mr. and Mrs. Chief Judge, out of the probate, out of the will that the people left and their legacy in a will. Will go to court. And the court has costs. Well, the court's cost may be more than the attorney fee. I don't know, because I don't know what the court cost is. But the court sets the cost as often as want to. And the court takes in millions. I didn't show it to you earlier, but $10 billion is what was taken in 2025. 10 billion, 10 billion, 10 with a B. In 2025, what year we in? 2025. What month? March. And then within 3 months' time, my goodness, how much money goes into the probate court? Look what it started back in 1984. Stop this information and study it for yourself. I'm putting here again the illustration to show you, Mr. and Mrs. Self-employed person, unemployed person if the government fired you. Look what you can get by setting up a business building process as a self-employed individual, getting the technology that you're going to be marketing. Get the technology, because that technology is a product for you to run your business. The business startup costs $495. That's what it costs you to run your business and to continue running your business. $495. I'm just an advocate. I don't know. You can't ask me because I don't know the answer to the question. I just know that you're going to start out at $495 to start the business. And one of the products that you're going to have, I say one because you may have many others, the product that you're going to get to run your business is tax deductible because it's a product, just like supplies, all right, just like rent. These are different things. If you run your business from your office, then the office has a monthly fee. You got to pay your rent. That rent is tax deductible off of your time. I'm not stopped giving you the accounting class. I want to move on. Here are the different kinds of businesses that you can have, Mr. and Mrs. Self-employed person. This is the kind of business you can have. Call the phone number at the bottom, and I'm sure you'll get an answer of the different kinds of business and the different kinds of product that business is going to run. But look at the health insurance that you're going to get that you didn't have working for the government. Health insurance, dental insurance, vision insurance, accident insurance, critical illness pay, prescription drug plans, disabled insurance, Medicaid plan. All these 8 different kinds of businesses, 8 different kinds of group health insurance now is available for you if you got fired and you don't have a continuation of your health insurance. Even if you have health insurance, you want to check this out because it's free. All we're going to do is complete the form that you see on the left side that says, let's get started. 100% free to get started in the product. All you need to do is complete the form. I put my name, my phone number, I put in my email address, I put in my age, the age of the person. That's not my age, but it's a form for you between 18, it was 18 to 64. I think I heard that the company had changed the age and taken the age off because the age had the little asterisk sign beside it. And you see the little asterisk sign up above the affiliate, associate or affiliate. Well, I'm an advocate, not an affiliate, but it has a little star there. That's going into the company computer, let them know that David Richardson, and in the computer, which I don't need because it's not an asterisk of a number. I don't need my WTA ID there because my WTA ID is beside David Richardson. If there's another David Richardson, he or she has a different ID number. So the name is the ID number. That's what I'm telling you. The name that you see, because they may have 25 or 30,000 David Richardsons out of 300 million people. And each David Richardson is going to have a different identification number. That's why you don't see the asterisk beside the ID number. Now down at the bottom, this is my little uh, 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 additional comment to the person, and then it's calling me, and then I click submit. That name is going into the company now, and that person is going to get a response from the company, and they're going to tell the person how many of the 8 different kinds of insurances they can have at that cost. If they only want 1 or 2, they can have it at that cost. If they only want 1, they can have it at that cost. You see what I'm talking about? So the cost is going to be different than what I know. But I do know this: on a monthly basis, you get paid month after month after month out of the persons that's going to go and get it. I'm about to ready to conclude this. I'm almost at the end. Excuse me. Wealth transfer allows technology showing how to avoid the probate court and the probate court's $22 billion in 2024. That's what the probate court took in 2024. All this information is, you can go to Google and just type in the probate court's earnings for 2022, and you'll get to 2024. I'm sorry, you'll get $22 billion. That's what the probate took in. And it's like, attorney, I'm running upside down to get more rain, the rain that's going to fall into your hand, probate court, because the other way it would fall on the ground and no one would get it. So what I'm saying is understanding the tax credit for a self-employed worker, and just go to WTA benefits, and you're going to see the form come up. You can't get advantage of it because you're not an advocate. But now once you become an advocate, then you can do it. So if you want to set your business up first, build a business, then you go to WTA, and then you have your information for you to just click submit. So that's your monthly income month after month after month. Even how you're working another job you found since being fired. But look how many people are looking now. I'm telling you as a tax accountant and going on the street to deliver tax returns and put tax returns in the bank. I see the traffic pattern where I live in Washington, right outside of Washington, D.C., on the 495 Beltway, 495, that's not a fee, tax deductible. I see them different in the traffic pattern. People out looking for jobs, because here in Washington, they're losing a job by 7,000 people per day. 6,000 or 7,000 people. What the administration that's doing in the current administration, and the lack of understanding by the administration, is trying to make money off of other people, trying to take other nations, form other nations to do what I want you to do. Who am I? I'm that person without understanding. I don't understand what I'm doing, but I just know that there's money involved, and my God is money. Just to see, I'm taking in money. I'm looking for money, 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 and some more money. And I don't care who I hurt looking for money. I want to take your savings accounts that you put in working for years for Social Security. I want to call it what I want to call it, a Ponzi scheme. You set up a Ponzi scheme way, way back, and you work 45 years and taking money out of your paycheck every month, every week to put into your Social Security savings account. And here come a person knowing nothing about the government of America, didn't know nothing about the government in South Africa, didn't know nothing about the government in Canada. Move out of South Africa into Canada, and now trying to bring South Africans into here to take possession of what you have here in America. See, this person is looking for money, and every day our government, the United States government, is putting money into this person's pocket. So that person has found him like a mosquito sucking blood out of the presidency of America and changing the president because the blood is going into his pocket and the blood is hurting the person in America, and you're suffering. Your body is suffering. You're going to die because you don't have what you had before you lost it because of money. I'm moving on. That's why I'm showing you the money. That's all we've been talking about all the time. These people here didn't have no revocable living trust, and we're showing you that. I'm showing you for a reason, because the slaves in America, Maryland, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia ran down into the swamps of Florida way, way back in 1845. We don't know what it was like in Florida in 1845 because the swamps had more of the Atlantic in there. But the Indians the Samoa Indians lived in Florida, and the black slaves went to live where the Indians were living, and they married. They married into the Indian tribes, and they produced children out of the tribes. So now what the president of the United States is talking about is draining the swamp. And and don't want to name the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. It never will be the Gulf of America because there's too many bloods that's on the grounds around the Gulf of Mexico and in the Gulf of Mexico. You got to do a study of the Gulf of Mexico so you know why now the Ku Klux Klan grandson and Ku Klux Klan member want to change the name because of the Klan and what they lost. And these persons here were part of that loss. These are black Indians. And you can see these are black Samoan Indian scouts from Mexico, in the Gulf of Mexico, where they defeated the United States Army. You're not going to find it in a history book. They took it out, just like they're still now trying to take out what the slaves encountered in America. The slaves were brought over with one name. The slaves now have two names, three names. They got the name David, African American. Is that three names? How can I be David, an African American, an African in America? I wasn't born as an African. I was born as a United States citizen. But now they want to take the United States citizens who are born in the United States under our Constitution and take those persons because they were born by someone else. But what would have happened if God didn't send a son? You weren't born by Mary or none of her children or none of God's. You were born through the Holy Spirit who overshadowed Mary, and she conceived her son, Jesus Christ. He didn't have no color. If he did, it wasn't white. It wasn't brown or yellow because they had to take the baby child, to another country to keep him from being killed by other people who were looking for black children. Oh, so you telling me that Jesus Christ was a black child and his father put a black child into someone else? Well, no, because Mary was black. Don't you know your history? No, you don't. If you know your history, you wouldn't say some of the things you say. There's a person coming out with all these books about black people in the Bible. The Bible is black. All the Old Testament had black people. All Abraham was black. Seth was black. Isaac was black, one of the twins. But one of those twins were a different color. Edomites, money people. Don't you know your own? No, you don't understand your history. I'm moving on. But these persons here defeated the United States Army and they took it out of the book. Okay. Here is the SS4. This is the SS4 for you to start your business. Start your business. Now you need to know how to do it to do what I'm talking about. Because any lottie dot and anybody can complete this form. This is an application for identification number. You see at the top. Application for employer's identification number. Employer's identification number. You're going to hire people. And those people are going to be living or working under your employer's identification number. So when you get your employer's identification number, you got to know the employer how to use the application for your advantage. I'm telling you, I'm just moving on. These are the instructions. This is the actual form itself. Here are the instructions for the form. Study them, get understanding. The IRS SS4 for your revocable living trust technology product and services. Technology and products. It can be more than one technology. It can be more than one product. It can be more than one service. But each one of those products and services can come up under your application for the SS4. And you're going to submit Schedule C. I told you back there a while ago. So a 1040 Schedule C to show the government what kind of products and services that you're running out of your business and what your business cost is. You can't do that but just in the year 2025 if you start in 25, or you're doing it to start what you had in 2024. You could have had anticipation before you even met David Richardson on this video. You have been told by other people how to start a business, but I didn't start my business until 2025. But all of the products and services that I incurred in 2024, I can put them on my 2024 tax return with the income. Now, income, a business with no income is a hobby. If it didn't make any money, you need to know what you're doing when you do what you do. If you don't know, don't do it because it'll get you in trouble. And you don't want to get in trouble trying to do something that will help you, but you need to know how to do it in order to get the help. This is again, I'm showing you final steps now, 3 more steps, and we're showing you that you need your revocable product, your revocable living trust, which is a product to you because you started a business building business, and you put your product in your business to go out and market your product, and then your product can be some of the deductions. There's a difference between a deduction and an expense. It's a difference between a deduction and a tax credit. But all three, the deduction, the tax credit, and also the business expenses, can reduce your tax liability in the United States government. This is the area where I live in Prince George's County, Maryland, and I also live near Montgomery County, Maryland. These both of the cities near the counties are near the Chesapeake Bay, and the Chesapeake Bay is around the state of Maryland. On the east side of the state of Maryland, you'll find the Chesapeake Bay, and outside of the Chesapeake Bay, further east, you'll see the Atlantic Ocean. But here on the west side, you're looking at the west side, see the plains. They're on the west side of Prince George's and Montgomery County. I live near there. Now, here is myself. This is a picture of myself at the Wealth Transfer Alliance. And you give me your attention, you're going to get what we're talking about and give me your attention. It's only going to show you how to take a product and your startup cost as a tax write-off on your income tax. But you got to know how to do it. Even if you're a tax accountant, you need to know how to do it. Otherwise, it will get trouble. But I'm only entertaining this to show you, if you become an advocate, and through my understanding, you're going to be well off, because I've already illustrated to you how much you can earn as your own self-employed function, and you having 8 different kinds of health insurance should you choose to do so at a group rate. And month after month after month, when you share that anywhere in America with anybody, you're going to produce an expense, and both the expense and the product are written off on your income tax. The books that I wrote, the 7 Spirits of God, and the Holy Spirit sent the Son of Man into each one of us to tell us how to live. They talk about the lost tribe. And when you're looking at a person face to face, talking about the lost tribe, there's a strong possibility that you're looking at one of the lost tribes people whose name got changed and given 3 names: Black, African American. Have a good day. I've now spent quite a bit of time with you, but it was worth it to me. But now you understand how to get the product. You understand how to start the business to get the product. And both the business startup cost and the product cost is tax deductible on your 2025 income tax. But you need to know how to do it. If you don't know how to do it, it'll get you in trouble. So make sure that you get an understanding how to do it. Call me. I will set up some kind of way for you to get the know-how. All right? Have a good day. God love you. I love you because he commanded me to love you. But he loves you even more. He knows what I'm to do. He knows that you're my neighbor here, over there, or anywhere else outside of America. You're still my neighbor. And I have to love you as I love myself. Because I really do love myself. And I love you because you're my neighbor. Have a good day. Bye-bye.